Good morning, brothers and sisters online. Today, Pastor Jason will lead us to meditate on the book of Isaiah chapter 3. The title is, "The righteous will surely be blessed in times of trouble." As in verse 10, "Tell the righteous it will be well with them, for they will enjoy the fruit of their deeds." So in times of trouble, especially in Hong Kong, it's never easy to live our lives these few years. Maybe it's like the social movement or anti-government movement. So the pandemic has been lasting for 2 years. We hope that by mid-April that we can be set free. Like 2 years ago, we expected this to happen. Yeah, we have pandemic here and also battles elsewhere. Do you think if you go to other foreign countries, there is no pandemic? It's not the case. So it's all confused in this environment. However, the righteous under this environment will be well with them. Chapter 2, the last verse, or what account is he? That is to say, don't think that you can rely on the man on earth. That is to say, every one of you should not just rely on the people. And then we come to chapter 3 today. Chapter 2 said, do not rely on the world or on the people. And in chapter 3, it tells us, whatever you relied on, those things will fall. Chapter 3, verse 1. See now the Lord Almighty, is about to take from Jerusalem and Judah both supply and support, all supplies of food and all supplies of water. So when we say we rely on those things that you think you will be more comfortable, they are your reliance. If I have more saving in the bank, then I will have this sense of security. So this is what we say, we relied on money. If I relied on my education, like I have more certificates, that it will be safer for me. This is our reliance. God said, I have to take away all your reliance. For man's basic necessities, we need the food and water. So how about the water? How about the money? With more money, we hope that we have better supply of food and water. When we pursue after all these things, God said, I have to take them all away. Through the prophet Isaiah, God proclaimed his judgment. Verse 1 to 12. If we relied on the people, we will be judged. That is, whatever we relied on, those things will be taken away. If I pursue after food and water, these things will disappear. You say, oh, in this case, I better rely on people. Then verse 2 to 3, like the hero, warrior, judge, prophet, soothsayer, elder, the captain of 50, all of them like 11 kinds. So when we say we relied on hero and warrior, like the judge is someone with authority. Or we pursue after the prophet and the diviner. We want to know what will happen in the future. Like the captain of 50, men of rank, they are the people with authority. Or different kinds of people, they are the wealthy people. Whatever Israel relied on, those things will be taken away. So these kind of people, some of them are good and others are bad. We say you relied on the prophets. Yes, the Bible tells us that we relied on prophets. I should put it this way. The Bible tells us to listen to the words of the prophet, believe in his words. Because the words of the prophet is from God. So the main point is we trust God. It's not about this person. God also asks us to listen to our authorities. No matter it's about the elders or the captain of 50. Yes, we need to listen to these people. We listen to them is because we believe that God set them up for me. But we don't just rely on them. We do not put our hope in these people. They are set up by God, but they are not my hope. When we put our hope in these people, when we think that they can help us and save us, eventually they will be taken away. That is to say, whatever we rely on, then those things will be taken away, disappear. I heard of an example. There is a CMO who didn't want to be a full-time CMO. She wants to work in her sister's company. So it's a watch company and earn a lot of money. And God told this CMO, do you believe that I will make your sister's company bankrupt? And I said, how come you know all these things? Then I told her, because God tells me. Originally, her sister opened up a watch shop and it's good. So don't hurt your sister by doing this. If you relied on her, whatever she has will fall. It's the same how God treated the Israelites. So I should say, this is how God treated a southern Judah. Do not rely on the people. Whatever you relied on, I will take them away. If you relied on food and supply, I will send droughts to you. If you relied on those people with wealth and with authority, I will take them away. And these are the advice from God through the prophets. What is people's response? So if you take away this thing, I can rely on others. Verse 4. I will make boys their officials. Mere children will govern them. In the original text, the Chinese version, there is no such word, the Lord said. Originally, I relied on my leader, but the leader is taken away. Now, what should I rely on? Oh, maybe I can rely on the boys. Perhaps this boy will lead us. So, in the last stage of southern Judah, is the youth taking authority, reigning. Just like Hezekiah's son, Manasseh. He reigned at the age of 12. And Jehoiakim reigned at the age of 18. Zedekiah reigned at the age of 21. So before Judah has fallen. So it's all these all these youth being the leader. And you ask, how come it's not those experienced people reigning? Because God has taken away all those people that the king relied on. God judged these people. And even after God has taken these people away, they still relied on people. That's why at the end they relied on the children, the youth. So this is like a reverse. That's why we can see, like in verse 8, the people oppress each other. And they are being bullied by neighbors. Like family against family. And then we see in verse 5. Verse 5, people will oppress each other. Man against man, neighbor against neighbor. The young will rise up against the old. Like the young people didn't respect the old. So this is the problem between the two generations. The young will rise up against the old, the base against the honorable. We relied on leaders. And then the leader will be taken away. How about relying on children? The whole land they will face like bully, unfairness. Who should we rely on? Hey, how about those with clock? Then I relied on them. Verse 6, a man will seize one of his brothers at his father's home and say, you have a clock. You be our leader. Take charge of this heap of ruins. So we are so desperate. Oh, you have a clock. You better lead us. And then that man will say, oh, don't bother me. I will not be the leader I will not be your leader because I have no food or clothing in my house. So this is the only clock I have. What you see is what I have. So don't ask me to be your leader. So if we believe, we trust in those people, then those things will be fallen before our eyes. So if you continue to grab hold of people, then you will be in ruin. Verse 8, Jerusalem staggers. Judah is falling. Their words and deeds are against the Lord, defying his glorious presence. Oh, these words are special. So we see the word staggers or stumble and falling. Isaiah prophesies that after 150 years, Judah will fall. That's why he said it's fallen, it's stumbled and staggers and falling. So what he wanted to say is this has already been decided. like in the spiritual realm, through the words of the prophet, then God tells them this is your outcome. And this was followed by droughts. So in the year of Hezekiah, that is, all the nations still respect, honor Judah. But as time goes on, they had droughts. They don't have any food and supply, and the children reign as leaders. All these things happened because men didn't follow God. What the people say is against God. What men did is not pleasing to God. That's why they have such outcome. So people didn't like what the prophet Isaiah said, because every time you said it's all negative to us. Verse 10, praise God, we have this. Tell the righteous, it will be well with them, for they will enjoy the fruit of their deeds. Woe to the wicked, disaster is upon them. They will be paid back for what their hands have done. So even in times of like disaster calamities, no matter the righteous or the wicked, are created by God. So talking about the blessing, be well with them. In the book of Genesis, we see God created man and see them as good. The righteous will enjoy this goodness, the blessing. But the wicked will face calamities. So the calamities means it's not good, no good. So one is the wicked and the other is good. The righteous will enjoy goodness, but the wicked will face wickedness. So the outcome is like this because of what they have done. And these are the fruits of their deeds. And also they will be paid back for what their hands have done. The whole earth will face judgment. But the righteous will surely receive blessing, enjoy the blessings. So let us not be influenced by this outward environment. In the era of Isaiah's like that, no matter it's Israel or Judah, should I follow King Aram or the king in Assyria? Should I follow God who has protected me, or to follow a new leader? Whether I should rely on this person or that person. And then we see that they made the wrong decision and judgment because the mindset is wrong. Because from the beginning, they should have relied on God. But when they change their perspective to rely on a nation, then calamity will come. This is the way. It's the same yesterday and today. Then people start to think whether there will be atomic wars. Or it might not happen. Then we should ask, why should this happen? Why would this happen? Of course, there will be a lot of historic backgrounds and factors. The main reason for the battle, like the Russian and Ukraine battle, because Ukraine want to join the European Union and the Northern Alliance. And Russia disagree with this because Russia said, you have touched my bottom line. Then they started the battle. It's the same for Israel. So it's the same behavior. So that's why the battle started. At the beginning, we thought that Ukraine cannot resist. But as the battle goes on, it seems that they might win the battle because of the alliance from other nations. So this is not real victory. Because they have thrown all these bombs and onto Ukraine. Ukraine's been like all broken. No matter it's like UK or US, they have given a lot of weapons to Ukraine. But these weapons go towards Ukraine. The more this battle lasts, then they will have greater loss. So it's so cruel. So how miserable it is. So the root cause of the problem is I want to join the Northern Alliance. I want to join European Alliance. I want to have reliance on a stronger nation. 80% of the believers, they believe in Catholic and also Orthodox. So we have to pray for God to help them. It's the same as southern Judah. It's the same like nation against nations. It's the same for individuals. What are we relying on? Whatever we rely on, those things will disappear. Because we belong to God, we don't belong to people. Let's look at the second paragraph, verse 13 to 15. The elders and the leaders will surely be judged. Verse 14. The Lord enters into judgment against the elders and leaders of his people. It is you who have ruined my vineyard. The plunder from the poor is in your houses. So the people of all the earth, if they relied on people, they will be judged, even especially the leaders, because they are the one who take the lead to oppress people. So who took away the plunder from the poor is the leader and the elders. So God said, as in verse 15, what do you mean by crushing my people and grinding the faces of the poor? And then verse 16 until the end. Here talk about the women of Zion. It says that they are haughty, walking along the outstretched necks, flirting with their eyes, stripping along with the mingy steps, and they put on a lot of ornaments. So there are 20 of them. They put on all these things. From the head to toes, then they have ornaments to beautify themselves. 21 of these things is 3 times 7. So they fully pursue traditions and the culture. So from head to toe, they want to beautify themselves in order to attract people with charisma. And also their minds and thoughts, they just do all these things. So God, in particular, talked to the women of Zion. You will surely be judged. Verse 24, instead of fragrance, there will be a stench. Originally, they used a lot of perfume, but now their body stings. Instead of a sash, a robe, that is, they went into exile. Originally, you want to flirt men, but all these men died because the nation is fallen. And you went into exile like slaves. So all your well-dressed hair, your good dressing, fine clothing has become sackcloth because all these men died. Verse 26, the gates of Zion will lament and mourn. Destitute, she will sit on the ground. Here it talk about the women of Zion. So we should explain it this way. So here Isaiah talked about Judah. If we just pursue the outward appearance, pursue after tradition, but not pursuing after God. So all these things, they doesn't belong to God. And you pursue after these things. And they worship many idols, but not worshiping God. Whatever they worship, all those false gods will fall before their eyes. So if we pursue whatever nation's culture or tradition, they will be fallen. And this is in time of chaos. Like the elders and the leaders are judged. That's why the people of the world receive judgment. So everyone on earth will receive judgment. But those who pursue after God will be blessed, will be well. Through chapter 3, God wants to express the last verse of chapter 2. Or what account is the people? What account is he? Do not rely on anything apart from God. Whatever we relied on, that thing will bring a lot of troubles, calamities to us. If we relied on money or wealth, then I would be delighted in these things. And these things will disappear from us. And these things will disappear. For example, like the Chinese tradition, there is the God of wealth. If you kneel down before this God, the more you worship this God, you become poorer. Because idols lie to you. They will cheat you. For those who worship the money god or god of wealth, they will fall into poverty. And this is a never-changing spiritual principle. Whatever we worship on the earth, those things will be taken away. May God help us. So do not pursue after these things. Just follow God wholeheartedly. We will surely be blessed and be well. May God help us.